Hi everyone, this is Veronica and today we are going to discuss a very important topic, that is challenges before Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana. As you know, this particular scheme was launched in May 2016, and now we'll see how better it has been till now and what are the challenges that we still have to solve. Okay, so for my video updates you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and for the PDF of this lecture it will be uploaded on my Facebook profile or on my Telegram group. So this is a channel StudyIQ. If you're preparing for any government exam, then our pen drive courses are also available. For additional information you can visit our website or you can call us on these numbers. Okay, so let's start. So before that, you must have read about this Yojana before also. So this is a question for you. Consider the following statements regarding Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana. First statement is, this scheme aims to provide free LPG connections to women from the BPL households by providing financial support. Second statement is, the identification of eligible BPL families will be made in consultation with the state governments and the union territories based on the socio-economic and caste census data. So you have to choose correct statement and you can write it in the comment section. So today we are going to discuss this. See, first the relevance for exam. For UPSC, it is very important. As for prelims, you should know Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, and for the mains, you should know the challenges because every scheme is important. When it is asked in your mains examination, they don't ask you what is the scheme. Mostly they ask you to critically analyze it, or what is the present scenario, what are the challenges that we are still facing after launching such a flagship program. Okay, that you have to discuss, and I hope after this lecture you will be able, and you will be able to write the answer. And for the other government exam, I must say, for the personality test, when you're sitting in an interview, you could be asked such questions to analyze any particular scheme, because they want to see how good analytical skills you have. Okay, so let's start. So the Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana is facing some challenges to achieve its ambitious goals to popularize cleaner fuel. So as you can see here, it's written Swachh Indhan Behtar Jeevan. That means clean fuel means better quality of life. So that is the slogan in Hindi, and you can translate it in English. And now we'll discuss this Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana. As recently our Prime Minister has said that he wants to free, when he launched this program, he said he wants to free the women of India from the smoke. That is why he wants to introduce subsidize the LPG connection. So just for instance, we'll see immediately some quick features of this program before analyzing and watching and reading the challenges it is facing now. See, it was launched in May 2016. It was seen that to increase and safeguard the health of women and children by providing them clean fuel, because earlier most of the women in the rural area, they were using biomass fuel. Okay, biomass fuel has two categories, woody fuels and the animal waste. So it creates lot of indoor pollution. So this scheme is trying to do a women empowerment also, because the subsidized connection, LPG connection, will be given on the name of women only to the BPL families who will be recognized by socio-economic caste census data. And after once the connection is given, the refill could be given, and the BPL people would have two options. Either they can go for 5 kg cylinder refill or the 14 kg cylinder refill. And after that, that is based on two assumptions: willingness to pay for the fuel, and the household will get habituated. So the government was aiming that people, after subsidizing this much, at least people will be willing to pay for the LPG cylinders and their refill. And after some time, when we get a certain kind of facility for longer time, we cannot shift to our backward habits, and so the people will be habituated to the convenience of using cooking with LPG. So this is what government thought, that it will increase the LPG connection and the LPG usage in the rural households. So what are the challenges that we are facing? We have to analyze. See, the government earlier thought that 5 crore, they aimed at 5 crore connections they would be given to rural households, and later it was increased to 8 crore. And by January 2018, around 3 crore 30 lakh connections were given to the rural households. So the scheme is achieving targets. No doubt this scheme has achieved its set targets, okay, as the numbers are showing, but it is failing to achieve the objectives. It is failing to achieve its objectives. So what is the basic objective? So our objective is not to increase the LPG connections, but to persuade households to stop using firewood or the biomass fuel which cause such indoor pollution. So if you see, there are a lot of cases in India for indoor pollution and respiratory diseases. I'll tell you some data also. So on face, if you see, this scheme, that is Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, is an excellent idea. But how it is failing, I will tell you. Like every year more than 1 lakh Indians die prematurely from diseases caused by inhaling smoke from firewood and other biomass which is used through chulhas at home. Okay, this was shown by a study by Lancet in 2015. Okay, now if you see why there is this recent study also by Access by Council of Energy, Environment and Water across 6 cities, and it shows that large number of households stack LPG and biomass, that they are using a mix. They are also using LPG, but mostly they are dependent upon biomass also. So you see, our aim was, government aims was not to increase LPG connection, but they want to increase, our aim should be to increase LPG usage. But we have seen that still in rural households LPG and biomass both are being used, right? So earlier, to provide, aim of this program scheme was to provide 50 million, or you can say 5 crore free gas connections by 2019, which was later 80 million by 2020. They increased the time gap also, and the connections to be provided also. And in 2017, for a success thing, we have seen that 30 million connections have been given. Now see, under this scheme what happened, we'll just discuss this scheme so that it will help us to read the to understand the challenges more easily. See, under this scheme, the government provides subsidy. The government is providing subsidy of rupees 1600, okay, to government owned oil manufacturing companies for every LPG gas connection that they install. So you see what government is doing. Now what does this subsidy cover? Subsidy covers security fee and fitting charges. Beneficiary has to buy own cooking stove to reduce the burden. So to reduce the burden, what government is still again doing, they on cooking stove, as the person has to buy his or her own cooking stove and first refill, government has given a leverage that okay, you can pay this amount in installments. Okay, so just see, only a small proportion of these households of use LPG alone for cooking. One reason is this biggest challenge, that they are using both LPG and biomass. Why? This is one of the reason that government is not subsidizing the refills. The beneficiary has to get the refill on its own, but yes, what government is doing, they have told them you can pay it in installments. Okay, subsequently refills has to be borne by beneficiary household. Now see how this scheme is again failing. We'll talk about more data, because affordability of refill and difficult in getting refill are the reasons of this scenario. We will discuss how these reasons came in between, because recent data shows that number of LPG connections have increased across India by 0.26% since scheme is launched, but use of cylinders increased only by 9.83%. This is lower when even the scheme was not launched. This is a government data only. So what does this implies and what does this means? This means that many people with new connections are not buying refilled cylinders after their first ones runs out. That is why it is reading, because affordability to refill is very difficult. Now some people say that government has launched this scheme in haste, because already they were waiting for one of the survey that they have given to one company that named CRISIL. So government had to wait. They have commissioned this company to do this company is basically a rating and analytics company. So they were told to survey that why users were not abandoning biomass fuels for cleaner LPG cylinders. But before this company submitted its report, this scheme was already launched. But however, we can discuss the study of CRISIL here. So we'll just talk about CRISIL study. But let's see a few more points. That in rural India, many households are using biomass such as firewood, crop residue, dung cakes as their primary cooking fuels, which are more affordable to them. Why this is affordable, we'll discuss. And just this point again. And one of the study which was done across various states of Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, and Jharkhand, West Bengal, and Odisha, it was found that people were unwilling to pay a sum of 900 or 1000. It was very costly for a 14 kg refill, but they would pay rupees 300 for a refill, which is about the price of refilling 5 kg cylinder. So these are all the outcomes of that study. Now see what CRISIL has done. They surveyed around 1 lakh people without gas connections across 120 districts in 13 states. Okay, so what were the results? So I have already summarized the results in the PPT. So we'll just discuss the figures. So when they talk to people, 86% of people said that the cost is very high. For installing the connection. 83% people said refills are costly. Then some people said there is long waiting time for the refill. That this was the second highest reason, and it was seen that 15 days minimum they have to wait for the refill. So this was the reason that they were not using the refills for LPG. So ultimately what this study noted, so they noted first thing was that reducing initial cost will help increase LPG usage. So this could be in way forward. And next was refills should be subsidized. And after that, delivering cylinders and dealers distributors should be increased, right? And even this study said that 37% of rural areas procure cooking fuel for free. 35% got firewood for free. 76% people got cow dung for free, and 88% people got biomass for free. So if they are getting this much fuel to for their kitchens in free, why would they pay rupees 500 or whatever you are costing for refill? They will prefer using the biomass fuel. So by contrast, subsidized LPG cylinder is rupees 500. An average family uses 6 cylinders a year. But there were some families which were paying around 354 for some kind of fuel, maybe kerosene or whatever. So they were more likely to adopt for LPG cylinder. So this study had to come before the scheme should have been launched, but the government what they did, they launched this scheme in haste. But however, this is a very welcoming scheme. even there was one fault of government also, that rather than reducing the price of LPG cylinder, what government did, they reduced the subsidy. So they paid short to companies, that rupees 34 to rupees 49 was paid short to companies, oil bearing companies, and companies had a loss of around 5,000 crore for distributing subsidized cylinders. So now you see what are the problems. We need to subsidize the refills also. So even you can see here, while it is true that use of cylinder does not increase over the years, the assumption of union government on cylinder consumption ignores the volatility in rural areas. Okay, and moreover, rural women do not have a say in determining when a refill is ordered. It all depends upon the men of the family, and if they don't have money, they cannot order the refill. So all this study shows that when they can get the some kind of fuel to run their kitchens for free, they won't go for LPG. So there were three main reasons which the research study has shown. So what could be way forward? Because we still need to find ways in which we can get more households to use LPG. Use LPG is the main word, not just to get the connection, right? And for one, you can do one thing, that option of getting a 5 kg refill, because the study also shows that people are willing to buy a 5 kg refill rather than the 14 kg refill. So you should focus more on the 5 kg refill, and you can even give a subsidy on that. It may help. Okay, because one more thing we have seen, there are a lot of inactive accounts. So women don't stop using firewood, so cylinder will work for 1 year. So if you are not buying a refill for 3 months, your account will be inactivated. And in January 2018, it was noted down that around 3.82 crore inactive account. This accounts for as much connections they have given. So you need to look into this matter and give the way forwards. Even you can give more way forward in the comment section also. But definitely this scheme is very good, as earlier only 62% of Indians in India population, they were using LPG cylinders, but now it has reached to 85%. And even India became world's number 2 LPG importer. Okay, we have crossed Japan. China is number 1 importer of LPG. This shows our imports for LPG has increased 23%. So there are positive signs also, right? 11 million tons of LPG has been imported. Okay, so now the LPG consumption is increasing, but we have to look into the matters that why people are not going for refill. This is the biggest you can say challenge. So main big 3 challenges that we have to work upon. We should reduce the initial cost, which will help to increase LPG usage. Then refills could be made cheaper or subsidized. Or third, you can say we should increase the delivering cylinders and dealers, distributors, that should be increased for the rural population. I hope you understand the challenges and how we can tackle them, and what the facts and figures say about this scheme, the success of this scheme. Thank you. If you have any queries, you can contact me on social media. Thank you.